Right now, you're listening to the 7 Mile Isle Steel Band, live from Commercial Recording Studios in Cleveland, Ohio, down here in the Jam Den, the weekly podcast showcasing the best original music in the Midwest. Our show is indeed recorded live each week from the studios of Commercial Recording in Cleveland, Ohio. The Jam Den features all musical styles played live with no overdubs or retakes. I want to welcome you to the show. My name is Chris Mezzalesta, and the Jam Den is dedicated to bringing you, our listener, the most diverse and talented musical performers. We focus on quality in all musical styles, from jazz to rap, alternative to polka, R&B to rockabilly. So you never know what to expect. And those who enter the Den agree to abide by the Jam Den protocol, which has 3 parts. The music must be original, it must be played live, and there are no retakes allowed. And these rules have one single purpose: to provide that only the best musical talent will appear in the Jam Den. And speaking of live, I'd like to introduce the members of 7 Mile Isle to you right now here in the Den. I'd like to bring over to the Jam Den microphone Mr. Matt Dudak, who's with the band. Matt, welcome to the Jam Den.
How you doing? Thanks for having us.
I'm doing great. I'd like you to take a second, if you could, and introduce the rest of the guys to our listeners.
On drums today, Mr. Jason Little. On electric bass, Wilbur Krebs. Whoa! On the double second pan, Mr. Jeff Knightsky. On the tenor pan, Joe Moxon. And one thing that's cool about, or unique about the band, is that since we're all drummers, except for Will, but even he's playing steel drums nowadays, we switch around and all play drum set, we all play congas, and we all play pans, so we can kind of switch around depending on the song.
That keeps it interesting for you as well as the listener then.
Definitely.
All right, well, what are we going to hear first here in the
First
Den?
tune is a tune that Will composed for our first album. The album's called Just Now, and it's called Reggae Italiano.
Reggae Italiano, written by Wilbur Krebs. Matt Dudak and 7 Mile Isle here in the Jam Den. Take a listen now. Reggae Italiano. You're listening to 7 Mile Isle, steel band from Akron, Ohio, right here on the Jam Den. And that's cut on their new CD, Just Now. And you can find information on that at www.7mileisle.com. That's www.7mileisle.com. Reggae Italiano, a Wilbur Krebs composition, is it not?
Yes, it is,
Yes,
Chris.
it is.
It's a walking reggae kind of, I'm cruising down the street.
What you think steel drums?
Happy,
yes,
it can be happy.
This is not a. I guess it's not a musical Rorschach test or anything like that. Huh? One of you guys could come on in here and tell a little bit about. You talked about the origins of steel band music, or pan, as you guys also call it, in the Caribbean in the 40s and 50s, Trinidad specifically. I wonder if you might talk a little bit about like the spread outside of that first initial area up through North America and parts of the world.
I mean, of course, in Trinidad, it's been going on constantly, but in the 1950s, with the popularity of calypso in the States, with popular music, Harry Belafonte, etc., coming and sort of bringing not only the musical styles, but actually bringing the instrument. The National Steel Band of Trinidad toured the States in the 50s or early 60s, I believe, and they introduced some of the sounds, played Carnegie Hall, things like that. So it's really taken off, and it's all over the world now.
It seems to be becoming more accessible.
Yeah, I mean, I think
more.
with technology and the internet and things, it's easier to get recordings from the Caribbean or from other places in the world. But as also the people in Trinidad realize that it's a lucrative art form, tuners and builders have been going to other places, to Europe, to the East, and to the States to build steel bands all over the world.
And it is still pretty much an art form, much like the classic violin makers of old.
Oh, builders, yes.
Builders and tuners and whatnot.
It's a long apprenticeship to learn how to build, and it is very much a handcrafted, artisan-type instrument.
I understand in Trinidad it's quite the opposite. It's very central to their...
Yeah, it's actually on the $20 bill in Trinidad, there's a set of steel drums on it, so printed on the money. So it's very much their national instrument. And actually, a couple of us, Jeff and myself, have been down to play in these bands as well.
Is that a fact?
Yeah. Well, actually, the funny thing is when I played one of the bands, they didn't know my name. When they gave me my shirt, they actually put on the label Foreigner 1, and the buddy I was with was Foreigner 2. So, but we, in the bands, if you can play and you're honest to the art form and honest about the instrument and want to learn, they treat you as a brother.
We're going to listen to a tune written by Joe Moxon, who's the lead pan player for 7 Mile Isle. This tune's called Chacharo. Chacharo. It's a new one from 7 Mile Isle from their CD Just Now. You can get information on that at www.7mileisle.com. Put the number 7 in there, 7mileisle.com. That one left me a little bit out of breath. Yes, and I wasn't even playing. You're here in the Jam Den with 7 Mile Isle. We're here at Commercial Recording Studios in Cleveland, Ohio, home of the Jam Den. The guys are going to switch around a little bit, and we're going to hear one last tune from the guys in 7 Mile Isle. And Matt, did you write this one?
Yeah, this is one that we kind of came up with it by accident on a gig, wasting time. Needed something to play to fill time, and we came up with some chords, added a melody later, and then the feel and stuff came after the fact for the CD. But it's kind of different because it has sort of a songo feel combined with a samba feel, different sections of the tune, so it's like kind of multicultural.
Okay. What's the tune called?
It's called Anne's Lullaby.
Anne's Lullaby from Matt Dudak and 7 Mile Isle right here in the Jam Den. The guys hold forth, and here we go. Anne's Lullaby from 7 Mile Isle from the CD Just Now. And one final time, you can get info on that at www.sevenmileisle.com. I want to thank the members of 7 Mile Isle for joining us here in the Jam Den. That's about it for this inaugural trip downstairs to the Jam Den. We want to thank you for tuning in to the freshest original music show on the net. You can get more information on this podcast or how to receive the show each week in your iTunes player automatically. And you can do that by visiting jamden.com/podcast. And I definitely want to thank Commercial Recording Studios in Cleveland for the use of their studios this week. I'm Chris Mezzalesta, very happy to be here as your host on the Jam Den. Tune back soon and we'll see you then.